But we've got one more match for you guys today. It is going to be DawN versus Blitzchung coming right up. And again, this does have just some impact on what happens. I believe if DawN, let me just check my notes here. Oh no, DawN's just going to get third, I think.
He's just locked third.
He's locked third no matter what. This is just for an extra point, some more prize money. And whereas Blitzchung, if he wins, he will still just be 7th because he won't surpass Stats.
Right, because
Staz
Alu
lost.
Timu is now, so Staz cannot go up to 8 wins. So yes, 8 wins, DawN is locked in 3rd place.
Yep.
And honestly, as you said, now with no changes happening in terms of the leaderboard, the scores that we have for these players, what I want to see here to close out Grandmasters Season 2 is some good Hearthstone. This weekend has not been good enough. I know these players are good. It's easy for us, like you said, to sit here and call them out on the mistakes. I'm sure we'd be making mistakes in these high-level situations, but it still just disappoints me. I expect so much from these players because they are the best of the best. There's so many players wanting to get up to Hearthstone Grandmasters level, and if you're making mistakes like this, you deserve to be losing games. So now, final match of the round-robin part of Grandmasters Season 2 before we head off to playoffs next week. All I want to see is some PogChamp-worthy plays.
Yeah, just some solid Hearthstone plays. It's going to be Blitzchung with Hunter, Zoo, and Warrior. And again, we've talked a little bit on and off about Zoo overall, and I think it's just close to just a decent deck. You see its pick rate very low.
Yep.
So you can see even in APAC, it's like, it was popular, I think, for a week. A lot of people brought it, and then it's just been either the regulars, i.e. Tom, or just going up and down in picks or not. I do think that, next week, Zoo could be better, depending on how, the whole meta is just going to go nutty next week anyway.
I'm so excited.
But
I'm so excited.
Imp Gang Boss, the boss, is going to be back in town because, that one card, made Zoo across multiple expansions because it's just such a solid card. It fits in 3-drop. That's going to replace Thrasher. And it was just a solid, I think, one of the most iconic Zoo cards that have ever existed, especially from an expansion.
Do you know when do the cards actually come out? I wasn't sure of the exact date.
You throw me under the bus.
Yeah, sorry.
It's fine.
Because I want to know how much practice the players have.
Yeah, it'll be on the... well, remember, they can technically practice now.
Yeah, that's true. They can go into wild, I guess.
Yeah, to build the decks in wild.
Obviously not perfect because you can randomly generate weird wild cards. But yeah,
sure.
For all intents and purposes. For most intents and purposes.
Look, no power level is too far for Babbling Bug. But here we see, going to kick off game number 1. DawN on the top on that Quest Druid. And Blitzchung arguably getting a good matchup here with the Zoo. I think he'll be happy at this outcome. And the absolute menagerie of 1-drops in his hand.
October 8th, 2 days.
I know what I'm doing in 2 days. Wait until the patch goes live. It's probably going to be 3 days for us.
Oh yeah, of course. We're 16 hours ahead of... Yeah, okay.
We misplayed by not being in the country that make the game. What a bunch of noobs we are.
Yes, we did.
Well, here's the Flame Imp into the Thrasher against the Druid. Is this the dream, Derek?
Yes, is the answer to that, pretty much. Flame Imp and Thrasher. I don't know if they are actually the 2 highest win rate cards in the matchup. I haven't looked at the... Mulligan win rates in this exact matchup because I don't really play much Zoo at the moment. But the impression I get from the players is that this is exactly what you are looking for.
I'll tell you this one, without even knowing the stats, they're the 2 highest win rate cards when played together.
Sure.
As in, on curve in the same game of Hearthstone.
By their powers combined. 1 Imps, 1 Thrashers. And DawN loses. Well, I said I wanted to see some good Hearthstone. Here it is.
Vulture's going to land. And DawN's going to die.
And then the Vulture is going to feast on his corpse.
It's just like the Vulture out of 9-9. Swoops in at the last minute. Takes all the credit for winning the game, even though Flame Imp and Thrasher stood there like, come on, we did all the work.
I would pay any amount of money for alternate art of Diseased Vulture, where it's the Vulture from 9-9. What's up, losers? Oh? Do you not play the Vulture here? Is DawN playing MCT?
He's still playing into MCT, though.
Yeah. DawN is playing MCT, okay.
Wait, a 5-5 and a 3-3?
Fine. It puts more attack on board immediately, right?
Yeah, okay. So I think this is one of those games where it won't matter, but I feel like... Oh, no, take it back. I was going to say, this is better refill if the Vulture Thrasher gets cleared, but there's Vulture Crystallizer.
Good point.
So, never mind.
Okay.
Blitzchung, you do you, my
I'm
friend.
fine with this. I'm fine with this. Because you just want to be as aggressive as possible, and this is as aggressive as possible. So good job, Blitzchung.
I think there's a certain aspect where you consider that Vulture's the highest threat, but not the highest damage.
Yes.
So it creates a weird, awkward situation for your opponent. Just have to. This is like literally the best Zoo draw I've seen.
This is disgusting.
In years.
Druid never beats this, right?
DawN, get out of the game.
He's got a hidden Oasis.
Doesn't matter.
Does that make any difference in the world? Not really.
I'm going to say no.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and say no as well. If DawN goes Surger, he just dies on board. Oasis is the only player I haven't even counted, but I don't even know if it keeps him alive.
So he's got a clean trade, which gives him 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 from on board. He's got 2 more, 4 more from hand.
So not lethal?
So not quite as far as I can see. Good as well. He can play them both since he has the 2 slots from trading.
Yes, yeah. So he just wants to trade away as many minions as possible here.
Oh, do you...
Well, to make board space, I think, is the main...
Okay.
Sorry, as many minions as possible that still equals 6.
Okay.
That might just be lethal, though.
That's probably lethal. It has to be. It has to be.
I think it probably just has to be.
Because he can play everything anyway, and he gains more. Damage, and he was 2 off. That's just going to be game. Blitzchung says, "You want good Hearthstone? I'm going to zoo him in the face." In 2 minutes, game over.
Honestly, yes, that was some great Hearthstone.
That was just good games.
It was. He got the draw.
I'm so refreshed.
He played it well.
Blitzchung all business. And again, Blitzchung, although he will not be able to qualify for playoffs, he can finish in a much more comfortable situation, not being 7th even. I think he actually goes up, right? So, considering he was, feels like 2 minutes ago in contention for being relegated, if he wins this match, it's not the best season, but definitely not the worst.
Much more reasonable.
Yep. That was just game number 1. We blinked and almost missed it, but it did happen. We're going to go to a quick break while we start up game number 2 between Blitzchung and DawN.
We've created a new home for all things Hearthstone Esports for both desktop and mobile users. From the homepage, you can find the latest articles, scores, and VODs. And from the navigation bar, you can find so much more. Here's how it works. Under the Grandmasters tab, you can view competitor profiles. Here you can see a player's top classes, recent decks, and watch their most recent series. You can also access the standings from this tab to help you understand where each player is in terms of playoff contention or relegation. On the schedule page, you can check the dates and times for every part of the Hearthstone Masters program. This includes the full calendar of Masters qualifiers, Masters Tour event pages, and the weekly schedule for Hearthstone Grandmasters. Looking to try your hand at the decks the pros are using? Simply click the eye on a Grandmasters match to see submitted deck lists. From here, hit the purple Copy Deck Code button and open Hearthstone to your collection. Then, create a new deck and simply answer the Create from Clipboard prompt in the affirmative. Finally, the News tab will show you Hearthstone Esports news exclusively. Dive into interviews with your favorite players and check back every so often to see what you've missed. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the tavern.
we are back bringing you match 5 of the day, and it's going to be DawN versus Blitzchung. Blitzchung just destroying Druid from the face of the earth. They now live on the moon with that Zoo play.
Yeah, soon to be fired off the face of that as well. But it does mean that Blitzchung getting the win with his somewhat unconventional Zoo. We can see it made up a total of 1% of all decks brought this weekend to Hearthstone Grandmasters. So you're always happy to see with the weird deck that you're bringing, getting a win with that, you just feel a little bit more confident at least.
Yeah, we are going to be moving on to a matchup that I feel like we've just not seen lately. I don't really know why, but it's going to be Druid versus Warrior.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And I'm glad, finally, after me moaning, and I'm not taking any credit here, although it sounds like I am, Nomi, just gone. Go away, Druid. It's just a stupid deck, a stupid card, sorry, to put in the deck. But it will kind of change the way the matchup works.
Yeah.
But I also think that players have also stopped building Warrior to beat the Nomi Druid anyway. So it kind of just becomes more of a much more standardized matchup, I think, where Druid tries to tempo out and play big minions from the mid game onwards, and presents waves of threats to the Warrior, and the Warrior has to defend.
Yeah, that's right. There was a week here in Asia Pacific GM where a lot of players were bringing double Plague of Wrath, Whirlwind, Warpath, Brawl,
double Brawl.
Druid. Yeah. Where it was just all-out removal, kill off every single threat time after time after time. But now it feels a little bit less necessary. A lot of players are omitting Druid from their lineup. We're seeing Malagos Druids, which is a different beast entirely. The removal doesn't really matter there. So I'm fine with players going for a slightly more aggressive build of Warrior, as Blitzchung has absolutely done here. He's rocking 2 Omega Devastators, where they are all but absent, it feels like, from pretty much every other build of the Warrior.
Do like the scenarios pick up here from DawN. It is early days yet, but having just more scenarios is insane, because it's so good right now, because it is not only a threat of effectively a Savage roll to the board at any given time, it builds a board as well. So it basically does everything you want in this deck in one single card. And like I said, it's a 9 mana play, which is a while away yet, but there's nothing better. Derek has physically been blown back.
Blitzchung has hit
draw.
The nuts. He has 1 Eternium Rover in his deck, 1 Frightened Flunky in his deck. You might be surprised to hear this. 1 Snip Snap in his deck.
Yeah, especially since it's only turn 3. You could have 2 if it was turn 6. But only the 1.
Do you even dream of not just jamming it here? No.
It would be a nightmare, Derek, not a dream.
True.
He's just like, oh yeah, did you not know? I'm just going to play Zoo twice. Take this.
This is the best start you can possibly have as Warrior in this matchup.
Again, we'll reiterate, just in case you're joining us, I know might be gaining European viewers. As time ticks on, of course, and it definitely should be by now. You guys better be watching. DawN is locked in 3rd place. He is in the playoffs. So this is more of just a match to gain an extra win, gain some extra money.
Yeah.
For both these players.
Do you kind of wonder there if for Blitzchung we should have seen a Mega Devastator instead of a 2/6 taunt, because I guess the thinking is, obviously Omega Devastator can be better later on, but I think more importantly it's like a 6 health minion going into Oasis Surger turns in the next couple of turns. But it's still a couple of turns away, We could have seen Omega Devastator on this turn and then taunt next turn. I just want damage on board. I want to kill
or maybe he's thinking a little bit further ahead because he wants to equip Super Collider this turn.
Fair. Yeah, maybe.
To answer the Oasis Surger the turn out. Like this lines up where these aren't good trades for the Surger, and if it is forced down, then you just Super Collide them and they're dead. Don't move on with your life.
Those are all decent reasons. What I'm really hearing is 2 damage to face that just did not happen.
Agreed. Is he not gonna attack? I guess he doesn't have to. He's not gonna die.
Yeah, with double swipe in hand, I think you probably want to save it to just go for more removal-based options.
But now he's got Nourish next turn.
So is your mana just spoken
So maybe
for?
I think you attack.
Okay.
Because also there's like...
I don't really mind either way, to be honest. I think the thing is, like, you're not dying anytime soon anyway.
Maybe a double shield block. Blitzchung just want to cycle through. Can't kill off this Loti, which is a little bit annoying.
There's a couple of good threats, though, on the other hand, in
And-
Double 2 Morden.
And honestly, Super Collider versus Loti is kind of bad for the Druid player when it's revealed, because
True.
you attack the Loti and the Loti will kill whatever's sat next to it.
Yeah.
Not many Divine Shield minions in Druid last time I checked.
DawN, I think the Nourish here, obviously not mandatory because Oasis Surger was a okay play, but with the Super Collider there and the fact that you are, of course, ramping up to Cenarius directly on the following turn, that I like the sound of that. That gets the juices flowing.
It's just too good not to. And I like this play as well. Because the Super Collider isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
So you want to make Blitzchung swing it on stuff that isn't that important, and then the turn where you commit, there'll be too many things on the board for the swing to be that important. So
I agree. It's also, you don't want to overdraw a card.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty bad here, I think. Taking a look at the exact cards that DawN is running in the late game. Elise, Zephyrus, Cenarius, and Feoris. This feels like very much the standard build of Druid at the moment.
Yep.
Elise, I think, was questionable for a while, or players didn't know whether to run it. But now it's pretty clear that you just go for the Elise, I think.
There's a couple of cards that are still up in the air. 2 Bees versus Power of the Wild and Bees.
Yeah.
And then some small things like that. But yeah, this is pretty much the meat and potatoes of the deck.
Does mean that DawN is left kind of on the back foot now still, because he's down to only 7 life.
Does he just 4, 5, 6? Does he just go for the Pharaohs?
What is he dead to if that happens? Snip Snap and Ziliax have both been played, so
nothing.
really not much.
I like it. Then you follow up with Cenarius. Cenarius should keep you alive long enough. Double swipe instead. Oh, no. Okay. So annoying. I think you'd rather that die. Ooh.
I guess this is what it does now mean, however, is that Blitzchung, with the swing of the weapon face next turn, is threatening lethal. Imagine that.
Yeah, I think it's why I like the Feoris instead, the previous turn. And even if it sucks, well, DawN's got to do something. And then Feoris on the turn where you know you never die, and then Cenarius. Go, 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 go. Whereas now, like you said, he has to play Cenarius, or I guess Oasis Surge swipe.
Hidden Oasis. There's a few things he can do, but the problem is...
Oh, does he have Hidden Oasis? Is that on the far left?
Yes, the far left
okay.
card's Hidden Oasis, yeah.
Could not see. Couldn't work that card out. I think it's just a glowing effect messed me up.
It's mesmerizing to say. This Super Collider has been ridiculous. It's just like deleted 4 cards from DawN's deck.
It's really... Super Collider's just good at the moment.
It's just insane.
Because everyone's playing... And I think you'll understand it's like fair things.
Yeah.
There's no big combo decks at the moment, so it's all just minion based. 90% of it anyway. So it's just good. Like, it is often just kill like, what, 6 minions or something? It's like, it's just crazy for 1 card.
For 1 card.
And think about how much weapon hate we used to see. Well, I know there was Rogue, of course,
Yeah,
way
yeah.
more, but still, like, a lot of the weapon hate was when people were running Super Colliders.
You just put Ooze in your deck. It's just what you did. And now in, like, Zephyrus decks, we're still seeing basically no Oozes. Because it's just not really worth it at the moment. Priest running wild, Druid, Shaman. Very big turn there for Blitzchung because he, of course, had a few different lines he could go for. He's wondering, do I ever just try and set up lethal with, say, Dynamatic plus Omega Devastator, represented lethal on the other side, or just swing plus Tomb Warden maybe sets up lethal in the next couple turns.
Still not going to play Floris?
What does it give him now? A
6
5-drop,
and
a
a
6-drop,
5?
and a 1-drop. Pretty good.
0 drop.
Oh, sorry, yes.
Behold, jewels of the sun.
I guess he's making a more like guaranteed Floris in this way.
It does set up a strong Scenarios board into this turn, into strong Scenarios board next turn. And of course, he still has the possibility to draw another spell now by delaying this Floris for a turn.
And one thing that's becoming more and more popular with this Quest Druid in this slower matchups where you don't just out beef decks and win is the Elise with Zephyrus.
That's true.
Because that means second you can play like 2+ maybe, depending on Floop. Zephyrus is like, you're probably winning that game, as long as you're not dead, obviously.
Yeah, it really speaks to how strong that is, because if you speak to Zananananananan about APM Druid, the deck that runs basically no win condition outside of the APM, he will say, actually, the main win condition against most matchups isn't the APM OTK, it's just Zephyrus. You just copy Zephyrus with the Elises.
Oh, I love that
And
view
floops.
thing.
Like 2, 3, 4 Zephyruses is usually more than enough to win a game.
So, why is Blitzchung not playing Devastator? Is it because he couldn't get rush value that turn?
I guess. To
But he just
get the
doesn't
hero
have a
power in as well.
4/5?
Guess he's just thinking it never gets the job done.
Our power is in our
Oh,
Wow! Those are huge!
sickest hero power answer.
Yeah, that Quartz Elemental. That sucks. But the beat, I mean, they're both huge
Hidden
stats,
Oasis.
huge downside.
Let's go. Whoa. Burst from hand. Never expect that. I heal me and kill you.
I've been inside that thing for months.
No tomb can hold me.
Is that little guy a character in Warcraft that you run into?
So the beast is actually a boss in... Oh, I want to say BRD, but I might be wrong.
Right.
If it's not a specific character, it's 100% a mob type,
Right.
if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like Lepanome, there's not a character called Lepanome.
There's
It's
just
the
a lot
things
of
around
Lepanomes.
Gnomeregan because
Yeah.
they're poisoned. So I think if he was an actual character, you have a name, but maybe you kill the beast. It's been
Well, it does. It's
many
called
years.
Finkel Einhorn, right?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Then yeah,
Okay.
it'll be in it'll be in
Okay.
the BRD or one of those ones. It's weird. They have multiple different names for roughly the same instance.
Of course.
Now though, still not looking too good, as without healing this 5/7, which is a bit of a stretch. No, that was good.
I thought he was going for that too. Okay, fair enough.
Just playing stuff.
Engaging TC-1000.
I will say one of
mental
the-
dislocator.
If you combine answers, one of like the worst King Floris outcomes, a
Yeah.
minion that realistically doesn't attack, and another minion that actually gives your opponent a minion,
Right.
it's kind of rough.
Hero Power Tomb Warden?
Ever a plague? Nope.
Now we are talking. Could have saved a bigger board, of course, and rushed in a Tomb Warden. But I don't mind clearing off the 1/1s with 2 Starfalls left in the
It's
deck.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they're realistically going to make much of an impact going forward.
Kaboom Hero Power, weirdly good actually. Oh, disgustingly good actually. With the scenarios coming down,
Shield Slam as well.
Blitzchung just annihilating this. I think honestly, that is a live feed of DawN right now, because he's just petrified by how much he's being wrecked.
He's like, if I don't smile, I'll cry. So I'm going to sit here, stare without blinking, and smile.
They can't hurt me in my happy place.
And Zephyrus just isn't live. There's no Floop either. No Elise.
There's nothing.
It's just a lot of nothing.
a lot of good cards at the bottom of his deck. But, I mean, to be fair, you know, he got Nourish at the start. He got Cenarius. He generated another Cenarius, Phaeoris. He got a decent hand. Blitzchung, sorry, unfortunately, just had the perfect recipe to take down this game, which equals start off with a bit of aggro, beat them down, make them use their resources awkwardly, and then you follow up
Boom.
with just running them out of resources in the late game.
Yeah, and the boom's just a big deal, right? Just having that rush capability to, like you said, Blitzchung did the early part of the game very well, but then Warrior only fizzles, but boom at that right time was saying, oh, now I have minions that also are removal and are often still minions afterwards.
That's it. I mean, it was the absolute dream draw as Warrior. The absolute dream. Of course, for Blitzchung, if you had to choose one series here to just be absolutely blown out and not have much of a chance, you'd choose this one, where he's already locked in 3rd seed.
DawN.
DawN, sorry, did I say?
Yeah.
Sorry. DawN, yes.
Imagine the viewers. Wait, Blitzchung's 3rd seed? What?
No.
What's happened? No, that is not the case. DawN is locked. But yes, I agree. I think if you're going to get one of these matches of Hearthstone, if everyone's laddered, you'll know you queue games. Sometimes you just lose. That's the way it is. That's why we play more than one game of Hearthstone a week. Imagine that each player just plays a single game. Just one game. Oh, you lost. You bet.
Sorry, you're going to be relegated out of GM now.
Yeah. We're going to play one game a week. It's only 1 week long. And that's how we would decide. But yeah, it's because DawN is safe into playoffs, then it's probably annoying just to play a game that or a series that feels very this one-sided. But if that's the extent that it hits DawN, then you know what, so be it.
And it's not over yet. It is not over yet. There's still obviously a lot of heal, pretty big turn here for DawN. And if he can hit himself with Nourish in the next couple turns, or activate this Zephrys and try to duplicate it with Elise as well, it's not over. It's kind of funny that Blitzchung has now gone kaboom, microbots, kaboom, microbots, kaboom in the last 5 turns.
Oh, that was a good pickup, though.
That's a very good pickup.
Not high-powered, as in stat-wise mechs, but pretty good mechs. Even just the fact they have Rush makes them good enough regardless of shape.
That's right. Given the change to Discover recently, you get more likely to get neutral cards. That's fine. It's probably above average, I'd say. There are some real stinkers.
A sigh. Just saying, oh, are you okay? You cleared that as well. Great. Next. Where's this next kaboom?
Oh,
Taking a week off. Nourish is good.
Oh, right.
That's a pickup.
Let's make something happen. Still not active. What is it at the bottom? What's the 2 of? Howl? It's Howl, I think, right? 2 Howls left in the deck?
Yes, it is. Yep. Still.
Starting to get ridiculous. But to be fair to DawN, the remaining stuff in his hand...
He's basically built Exodia.
He has actually just built Exodia now.
DawN's even just smiling at it. He's like, come on. I'm nearly
He's so
there.
powerful right now, but it means nothing.
It's like in those things where like some of the most powerful beings aren't allowed to interfere, so they can't use their powers to actually do anything.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's like, oh, I'm so powerful. Can't change the outcome though.
Like in Mistborn.
Just you wait, Darren.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm going to go home and read it right now.
Wait. Well, not right now. Let's finish the series
Okay,
first.
sorry. After this.
And potentially the interview. And wrap up and actually go back to the apartments. Here we go, though. Probably final push here for Blitzchung. DawN now. Game gets very simple. It's either a ferocious howl
Or it's
or
not.
it's not. There it is.
Okay. That's active now, right? It's time.
Let's go.
So, Elise to copy.
Need a hand
I agree. Zephrys.
Great. Nova. Bad time.
MCT? Oh, okay. Sure. He's now out of Elise's. But he would be either way, right? Yeah. Okay. Like, he could have gone Howl there and gone for another Elise next turn, but I think that's a little greedy.
Or we could have gone Zephyrus and have 3 Zephyrus.
3 Zephyrus.
If we did Zephyrus Nova.
4 Zephyrus.
Oh, because
Whereas now he gets 3.
Almost out of cards.
sorry, 3 left in his hand.
Yes. Correct, Amundo.
Look, we're both right, Tarek. Jeez, stop arguing.
Sorry. So, Black Knight will be offered here, should he play it, which is not bad, right? Is it good enough to win the game?
Your wish is
Might be.
my suggestion.
Maybe. Wow, I was wrong. Apparently it's not offered here.
Interesting.
Siphon Soul over Black Knight because he's so low on health.
Makes sense.
Okay, fair enough, Zephyrus.
Because,
you win this round.
Like, yeah, I wouldn't even be too upset about that outcome
Yeah,
if I was
yeah.
expecting Black Knight.
Yeah.
Because it ticks 2 boxes instead of 1. Because also, Black Knight doesn't exactly set up lethal for you, does it? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
true.
whereas maybe the health makes a big difference. You are also I'm not saying Zephyrus think about this, but you are heading into fatigue, which means health and the high removal.
Yeah.
Waits for no
I'll take
one.
it.
Do you ever go Zephyrus again to just kind of preload the Tyrion?
Tyrion.
I guess you're never spending the remaining 2 mana on anything anyway, so you may as well just save it.
I guess for brawl and stuff.
Yeah. Or more healing maybe you need.
That's what Zephyrus number 3 is for.
Zephyrus never offers you shuffle options, right? There isn't anything in the classic set that does that, yeah.
Back in the underpowered days.
Yeah, I mean, you say that when it was,
This
what,
would be
4
a
mana
good
Leroy,
card for
5 mana
me.
Gadget's Hand,
Oh, yeah.
power overwhelming, 0 mana Soul
But that
Fire.
was naturally less powerful because people were dumb at it.
It's true, yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Think about how quickly people get to good decks now versus when they did 2014.
It took a while.
Like,
yeah.
people were just playing cards they owned in 2014. That was how they built their decks. Back in those days. When, like, Harvest Golem was the sickest play.
Oh, yeah. Vate Golem.
This minion's like 2 minions! The value!
Coin Wild Growth, Harvest Golem. The nuts!
Druid's ramped like a god!
Did you just go coin innovate Yeti? Whoa! It's actually pretty good back then, to be fair.
Oh, I don't know. I think a 3-2 Knife Juggler would have something to say about that, along with the 2-1 Leper Gnome.
But now for DawN, what's he got to say? His 3-2 Zephyrus. How can that pull him out of this situation? He's in fatigue, 4 health left, 31 health for his opponent. Is there anything?
So, he was on 0 fatigue then, right? He didn't take fatigue.
He didn't take
that turn.
fatigue, no.
Right, so he goes Zephyrus into Tyrion, then next Zephyrus, or not, never mind. And then next Zephyrus, I was thinking, gets him healed.
Would it offer him Tyrion
No.
there? If he played the 2 mana one.
Oh,
Probably would have done,
Yes.
even though he's so low health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, I say yes with very, assertiveness. I'm not saying I'm 100% sure, but I would be
I think so.
very
Yeah,
shocked
yeah.
if it didn't. I mean, it's offered him a high main, right?
It's
offered him high
basically
main,
the same
offered
thing.
him
Best
Tyrion,
6
yeah.
drop versus best 8 drop, yeah.
I think he should have done that differently, though.
Just go for Tyrion.
Well, riddle me this.
Oh, no, wait, then he can't play the second Zephyrus, right? He has another Tyrion in hand then, right?
True. True. So could he get
No
Tyrion
can hold
played
me.
the second Zephyrus, heal that turn, then play Tyrion? Is that better?
Maybe? It feels pretty convoluted, and it doesn't get a high attack minion on the board on that turn.
But he also doesn't get Tyrion.
Is high main that much better than a Tyrion to be worth having nothing on the board for a whole
Taunt
turn?
and Divine Shield against Warrior.
Okay, then.
There's nothing with like charging or like you can keep board control.
But can you?
Yeah. I don't know.
I was just thinking, is there a way like he heals,
Yeah.
then gets Tyrion down? You are right, obviously, pointing out the Zephyrus and Leap interaction.
So it has to be heal now.
Right, which is where I don't think 2 2/2s and a Zephyrus is going to cut it.
Honestly, I don't think there was an out
Yeah.
there, all things considered.
True Silver Champion, best of both worlds.
Yeah.
What
What a cool voice line.
Justice.
Justice.
That was a good card as well back in the day. That
was
just a
alright.
key- it was, wait, everyone played that in Paladin. Come on.
Paladin was not good back in the day. Classic set, Paladin was like the worst class.
Nah, people win tournaments. There was a deck called by a player called Sixer. Not
Right.
6-0, Sixer.
Okay.
And there's a deck called Sixer's Miniatures, and it was like sort of like, as most decks were on curve, but kind of like tokeny kind of Paladin.
Okay.
remember that from a what was it called? What was the show that Artosis ran with Nimsh actually?
Was it King of the Hill with Frodan?
No, it was the show that Tice won a million King of the Hills on.
Right. Oh.
But it was a podcast.
I was a noob back then.
Yeah, you were a noob. Someone remind me what it was called. Yeah, this is just doesn't matter anymore.
Yep.
Like just hear a power pass, you win. Play the Harrison as well.
Obviously a lovely note to end on here for Blitzchung, as
Yep.
he was a couple of weeks ago, even at the start of this week, potentially facing down relegation, but finishing things off on a 2-0 week.
Yeah.
Honestly, 6-8, not a bad score.
He was
really not bad.
He was basically in relegation zone for most of the season.
Yeah.
That's just true. And now he has finished 6-8, considering a bit of a rocky season for him. Not a bad final outcome at all. And again, I think similar to Frosty, Blitzchung won't be happy with his performance overall the course of the season, but he'll be okay with the result, right? And I think it's very similar to just what Frosty would talk about as well. He's not necessarily happy with how he played, but he's happy with the end result of where he finished, which is fine.
And honestly,
I would agree.
Yeah, there for Blitzchung. I think, while overall for the whole series, yes, there's definitely places he could have improved. That felt fine. That whole series, I think he knew exactly what he was doing. The aggressive start, like I was saying at the start, whether he should go even more aggressive, like playing out the Devastator instead of the Taunt, things like that could have been considered. But I think you could definitely make the argument that my line of play is falling into the trap of going too all in on the aggressive plan,
And then he just
which
burns himself
rarely
out
works.
of stuff, yeah.
Exactly.
And again, we see with the setup going into turn 5, that Super Collider just
Destructive.
it does one of two things versus Druid normally. It either just destroys their minions or it makes them not play minions, which is also pretty good, as Druid has some of the most powerful single card minion plays in the game right now. So yeah, just one Super Collider, just he gave himself the time for it. Looked pretty good. I believe we've got Blitzchung hanging around for an interview as well. So let's check if he can hear us.
I think it was results ready.
Oh, sorry.
Rather than Blitzchung
I
ready.
misheard. I apologize, production. My fault. Let's check out the standings.
Oh,
And
well,
the
there we go.
results. Okay, I'm just picking different words now. Sorry. It's the end of the day. Forgive me, please. But throughout the day, we had day 3 results. Patra taking a win over Glory there. For her, just finishing on, as she said, she's really nice to just finish on a win. She said she had a good experience. She is going to be relegated. But she says she's going to keep competing and try and make her way back. So she's going to be going to some, potentially going to some toss-ups in the future.
Yeah, I'm really happy to see her at Bucharest. And, well, I think she said Bucharest and Arlington as well. Whichever tour stops, or Master Tour events, sorry, she does end up attending. A great way for her to try and get back in to Grandmasters for next year. Whereas Tyler there, taking the final win over Blood Trail that we saw there. Bit of a dour note for Blood Trail to end on, sadly, as he will also be relegated. Unfortunately, we don't get to interview him, but hopefully we will see him also attending Masters Tour events to try and get his way back in.
Yep, he was competing before GM, and I imagine he'll be competing after his time in GM too. Shaxi taking a win over Samuel Sau puts him in a spot to get top 4, which means he is going to be making the playoffs. Stars taking a loss into a quite disappointing series, to be completely honest. Kind of,
Yes.
actually threw away his chance at getting top 4 himself. For 2 seasons in a row would have been a big deal. Frosty taking the win, going off to a respectable finish, and then we had DawN taking a win over. Blitzchung taking a win over DawN. Apologies. DawN already locked in 3rd place no matter the outcome of that match, but Blitzchung showing some pretty solid play, and again for him a bad season, like not the most fun season in the world for him. He was basically always within relegation fear, and he took a win on the last match. You know what, you take those. Let's take a look at the standings now finally, if I finally get my words right for you guys. And there we see Chonsu, Surrender, Shaxi and Tyler top 4. Again, these official things will be announced properly, say on the Hearthstone Twitter, but I believe Tyler is 3rd, unless I've done my numbers wrong, in which I greatly apologize. And then we have Tom60229, Glory, DawN, and Alutimu, which I believe is in the right order in terms of tiebreaker from Division B. So Tom and Chonsu rocking in 1st place, which means they go into an advantage going to playoffs next weekend. And I believe Shaxi and Alutimu in 4th. I'm going to be wrong, knowing me.
Yeah, I think you're correct.
I am pretty, because Tyler also believes he's 3rd.
Yeah.
right? Okay, it's not just me. Great.
Yeah, I think it's, like you said, it's just done alphabetical on these groups. It's not perfect, but if you go to playhearthstone.com/esports, you can get all the information you need on all the divisions and all the regions, not just Asia Pacific, but Europe and America as well, which we'll be seeing after this. But with these divisions finalized now, we have our 8 players going on to the playoffs next week. I'm pretty excited, man. I got to tell you, looking at Tom in first place is a real standout player to me, because if we ended up with our 2 representatives being Surrender and Tom, being, I think you could very much argue, the 2 most well-known best players in Asia Pacific, that'd be insane.
Previous world champ and then previous, top 4?
Yeah.
Top 4 worlds? I mean,
Yeah.
it's like...
I'll take that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm in for some global finals, and even just in general, like, look at the names, they've been there before. There's Glory, DawN, Alutimu, all-star player I'd say from last season. Then Tyler, a regular. Shaxi, fantastic last season. Surrender, won it last season. And Chonsu, I think, is one of the standouts because he didn't have a season last season, but this season makes up for it as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, looking very, very strong. They're a real contender, as once again, in case you're unaware of how the brackets work out, Chonsu and Tom going with an automatic win heading into playoffs next week, whereas Shaxi, who is actually in 4th, we believe, slight error there, and Alutimu, who is also in 4th, will be going with an automatic loss. So they have more to make up for if they're going to be trying to get through to the finals.
Yeah, and that is the divisions and how they've shaped up. Of course, there's the bottom 4 players. We do say goodbye to Blood Trail and Patra, as unfortunately the way Grandmasters work is if we want some new players, we got to get rid of some that are currently in there. So they are relegated due to finishing last in each division, which is the case. But we will get 2 new players into Season 3. Those are yet to be confirmed because there is, of course, the Masters Tour in Bucharest coming up to help decide who goes there. But any final words for at least the round robin?
I think at the end there, we quite clearly saw this weekend, probably the weakest weekend, I think it's fair to say, in terms of play over the whole thing. I have to imagine due to the stress that comes in from these players when they're trying to get through to the end there and get into playoffs. But what I do want to say overall is that Asia Pacific still, I think, is unfairly given a harsh time in terms of when you're considering best players in the world, ranking of regions and such. So I think if we see these players knuckling down before next week, with the new cards coming rotating in from Wild, some of our creative deck builders could be in with a very, very strong time. And I, for one, cannot wait to see what they come up with.
Me neither. Next weekend, there's a lot going on. It is going to be the playoffs where we decide which player from Asia Pacific is going to be joining Surrender as a representation in the global finals. And like Derek said, there's going to be some new cards. So if you're a fan of Ragnaros, Sylvanas, Nazoth, and all the other craziness that goes with that new selection of cards, make sure you tune in next weekend. But for now, finish up the final day of the Hearthstone Grandmasters with Europe. It's going to follow from us as usual, and then America's a little bit later on. But from Derek and myself, we'll see you next week for the playoffs.